Last night, good morning. Welcome to another day of the coronavirus diary. So last night, the Israeli news said that you can only go 100 meters from your house, only go to buy groceries or to go to work, and walk the dog. They didn't say, but we're still here. I heard Donald Trump promise that by Easter, a very important date, he said, he's going to solve this problem because everybody's looking up to the US for solutions. Ha ha ha. Everybody's looking for solutions in the US. I don't think so. A country that is number 3 on the tablets of cases of coronavirus because they didn't block enough, they didn't do enough to control it. Here too, people don't seem to be too concerned for the most part with the regulations. And if you don't watch the news, how are you supposed to actually know the new regulations? For me, it takes me to dog times when there were all kinds of rules made up by fascist governments. And you don't sit on the bench. Jews cannot sit on the bench. This is what it takes me back to, because this is my personal collective unconscious. So when people tell me don't sit on the bench, don't do sports, that's the newest one. Like, you're really going to tell people not to do sports? Most people know that that's the only thing that keeps us healthy is sports. I'm thankful for Shivananda Yoga for giving lessons online. They're amazing, twice a day, and the Kirtan at 12. It's really important to exercise, people. And not everybody has a huge mansion where they can exercise in the backyard. And I think it's really an important time to take inventory. I'm getting rid of books that I don't like. Not every book should be read. And now I'm more focused on books that actually are meaningful, are well written, and have an important message. At the moment, I'm reading a book about Van Gogh for some reason. It's not well written. Maybe it's well written, but the translation is horrible. I'm reading it not in the original English. But I am interested in Van Gogh and how, I think everybody is interested in Van Gogh nowadays. And so this is a book I'm reading at the moment. I think it's important not to watch the news too much. And I think these regulations of not allowing people to do sports will just be ignored. It was really difficult for me to go and see how they mark off playgrounds. I think I don't have small children anymore, but if I had small children at the moment, I don't know what I would do, to be quite honest. Oops, I stepped on the dog. Sorry, I have to pick up something. If I had small children this age and they would not be able to use the playgrounds, I'd go stark raving mad, and the kids will. If you live in a small apartment, children need to climb, and they have needs that you cannot supply in a small apartment. So I don't understand why they blocked off playgrounds. And I think it's very important to know people that go to supermarkets are just as likely to get the virus. I went yesterday to the supermarket. People were so crowded, and there was a line, and I said, hell no, I'm not going to risk my health in order to stand in line I needed baking powder. They didn't have it because of Passover. They actually don't sell baking powder. I was in 2 supermarkets. I wanted to make a cake that has baking powder. Not possible. Passover products are already on the shelves. They're taking down all the things that have, I don't know if you know, but in Jewish tradition we don't use flour. We don't certain wheat flour during Passover. It's an attempt to lower the ego, as if that lowers the ego. Anyway, this is the Passover tradition, and the stores do not have products like baking powder. Toilet paper they have, baking powder they don't have. So that's interesting. So this is a good time to cleanse people. This is the positive message. Get rid of books you don't want. There are always going to be people that for them it's high literature. But for me not. I'm getting rid of some trashy books that I don't like, and maybe somebody will enjoy it. For me it's trash. One person's trash is another person's treasure. getting rid of clothes. The clothing stores are closed. If you have clothes that don't fit you anymore and they're clean, put them outside, because people will need clothes eventually, or just because you cleanse your house. It's time to declutter. I'm saying it as a person that is really needs to declutter, and I'm doing it slowly. The yoga helps a lot, because now I don't go out anymore to do yoga. I do it inside my room, so I can look around and say, oh gosh, I really should get rid of things. And I think another thing I want to mention is hugs. As soon as this is over, I'm going to be a really big hugger of people. Maybe I'll try. I don't know how good that will be. Maybe move to a place where people hug, because in the city it's not that acceptable. But is Israel serious? Like they're going to tell two people to not exercise? It's like telling people not to breathe. You know, you can also give the virus by breathing. So when you tell people not to exercise, it's like telling them not to breathe, because we need to exercise. The blood needs to flow. And as much as I can exercise at home, because I am a yogi, and I just need a mat. I'm on the mat. I can do my own exercises, or I can connect to Shivananda. And they have live lessons twice a day, as I said, which are amazing. Contact your local Shivananda. And they are just like amazing, doing amazing work, and once a day kirtans. Very, very important work for the community. But to tell people not to exercise outside, not to go out in the sun, that's madness. And all these American actors and actresses saying, stay inside. It's easy to stay inside when you have a huge villa and a swimming pool. But if you have a tiny apartment, and like let's say you live in a very crowded place with family, you can't really stay inside. Some people don't have a place to exercise. If you live with roommates, you can't just stay inside, because there will be domestic violence. There will be people killing each other. People need to exercise with fresh air. We're not in a concentration camp. So I don't know if anybody in the Israeli government is listening to this, but this takes me back to Antigona, the Greek tragedy, where she concludes that man-made laws sometimes have to be disobeyed. It's a good time to read the Greek classics. I myself need to go over that part. I only took one course, and the Greek classics say it all. So there are some man-made laws that we need to ignore. Yes, we need to exercise in order to have a healthy body. Yes, this virus is very dangerous and contagious, but you know what? When you go to the supermarket, you can get it. And they allow people to go to work. So when you go to a workplace, you can get it. You can get it when you pass somebody in the street and they sneeze at you. I don't know. If it's so highly contagious, then just keep everybody locked inside and provide for everything. So I see the coffee shop. Still, people are waiting in line for coffee instead of having coffee at home. I'm becoming so much more self-reliant. So I see religion has been canceled. There's no prayers in mosques. There's no prayers in synagogues. I don't know about churches. We don't have a big Christian population. And they're publishing, currently there are three victims of corona. They're all people with health issues. They're all over 65, and they all have health issues. So because of those three people, they have to prevent other people from living a healthy life. I think that is absurd. So you can see this life still goes on. Thank God they don't start with animals. I've heard some rumors, I'm not sure if it's rumors, about not feeding stray cats. Those stray cats are actually used to being fed. And I don't know if it's elderly people that are afraid to go out. It's catastrophic. Sorry about the pun. If you feed animals regularly, like cats that live in the street, I don't think cats should live in the street. They are domestic animals, should be kept as pets. They're not built for surviving without human beings. So if you feed cats, continue to feed cats. If you do sports, continue to do sports. There's no law that should tell you to stop doing sports, but shopping in the supermarket is okay. And going to work is okay. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And as long as people go to work, they should be allowed to do exercise. For some people, exercise is work because they're working to improve their body. They're working to have a healthy body. And the kids need playgrounds too. I mean, granted, kids in Africa don't have playgrounds and they get along great. But then again, they live in nature, in harmony with nature. What this opened my eyes for, this experience, is that actually, see, people really say, oh, I heard this, sorry, I have to go back. I did post Dr. Amini. She's a therapist, and she talks about narcissism and how people that avoid the rules are narcissistic because they don't think rules are important. It's called individual thinking. Not everybody agrees with the experts. Yes, you can say, oh, he's a doctor, he knows everything. But you know what? Yoga teaches us, you know yourself the best. Nobody should tell you what is best for you. And if you're going stark, raving mad, staying inside, and you're going to get depressed and maybe commit suicide, then go outside, my God. And depression is not just killing yourself, it's also not functioning. It's also not eating right, not washing, just thinking very dark thoughts. So if going to the sun and exercising will prevent you from being depressed, depression is much more lethal than this virus. How many people commit suicide every year because of depression? So don't tell people to stay indoors when you don't have another solution. And Donald Trump is a very bad choice. And I'm sorry to see that in the future he will probably continue to be this leader of the free world. And no, nobody's looking to the U.S. for solutions. U.S. has been disappointing us for years in terms of being a leader of the free world. And I don't really think you can promise anybody a solution by Easter. I think it's ridiculous to even say that. And I think it's sad that there are leaders that don't think before they speak. They just say anything to get popular. And I think it's really sad. He's the only one, by the way. Other leaders have been telling the population the truth. This is difficult and we don't know when it's going to end. All I can say is it doesn't have to be so difficult if you use this as a challenge, if you use this for self-growth. I'm going to deepen my yoga practice for sure. I'm going to stay indoors much more, but I am going to go in the sun. And if somebody tells me it's illegal to go in the sun and to exercise, I'll tell them it's illegal to say that. And as for being contagious, passing on diseases, so long as people are going to work, so long as the people are not dropping like flies because of this, I understand the explanations that if there's going to be a lot of sick people, there will be a lot of pressure on the health system. But people, wake up and ask yourself, can you really depend on the opinion of people that tell you that this is dangerous when we know depression, staying indoors outweigh the risk of this virus by I don't know how many folds. People that have health problems are at risk, yes, and we should consider them. But why don't they stay indoors? Why don't the elderly and people with health problems stay indoors? That's what I don't understand. Why don't people with health problems stay inside? That's what I don't get. Why do healthy people have to stay inside? It doesn't make sense. This has been 14 minutes. What I'm saying is I can see very lively. I can see people are not looking like they're particularly depressed. They're still going on. I want to talk about gloves and masks, how effective they are. I'm not sure they are. Washing hands so far, I've been told, our Prime Minister also said it, also the Health Ministry did say wash hands. They didn't say put on gloves. They didn't say put on masks. So wash your hands because that's the only effective way. And the masks are good if you have a cold, but they will not protect you. They protect other people from your viruses. So that's what I want to say. As far as I know. If I'm not right, write me about it, respond. Thank you. Have a great day. Remember to exercise, sing, read good books. books that expand your mind and not narrow it. And yeah, and get rid of things. It's time to get rid of things, and that includes human beings, actually. There are people in your life that are not interested in you, that don't care about you. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to detox from human beings that are not part of our lives. And now I'm going to really focus my energy on myself, on my loved ones, and I'm not going to be focusing my energy on strangers. I'm not going to get into conflicts and arguments with anyone. In fact, I'm going to minimize communication with people around me here, because I can see that people are really scared. And it's maybe a good thing to go inside. Maybe there's a benefit to having to stay inside more, having to think more, and not having that many possibilities. Peace, light, and love. It's a good time to reflect, people. Please reflect. Where am I in my life? Where do I want to be? Make a plan. Exercise online, because I'm not sure about exercising outside, whether the police are going to come and say something. So please, connect to a yoga center. There are countless videos if you don't want a live session. Countless videos on YouTube. For me, singing is really important. For me, and there's sing-along tonight. There's sing-along London. London singers have a sing-along tonight. Richard is amazing. There are amazing sing-alongs. Join one of them. Walk your dogs. Take care of yourself. And don't get crazy.